Okay, good morning, everyone. Lamed Dalet Amud Beis. The Gemara says on the bottom, Dinei Nefashos done in Bayom. They done Dinei Nefashos Bayom, just as a review. They judge Dinei Nefashos Bayom. They sleep on it for a night. Then they give the psak din, they give the verdict the next day. And the same day that they give the verdict, they need to kill because we don't want to unnecessarily cause the guy stress. Not that being on trial for murder is not stress, but at the end of the day, there's always the hope that he'll get off the hook. But once he's convicted, we kill him right away because we don't have to have him to worry and think about what's about to happen to him. So Gemara says, Minani Mili, how do we know that we judge capital cases by day? We sleep on it, we come back the next day. Amar of Simi Barchia, Amar Kra, Vihuka otam lashem neged Hashem. So again, we need to hang them. The Gemara is understanding the word Vihuka. It's talking about the people in Bnei Yisrael that served avodah-zarah of Baal Peor. So we go ahead and we hang them neged Hashamesh, opposite the sun. Clearly, you're hanging them during the day. That means you're giving the verdict during the day as well and hanging them right after. Amar of Chistmi Nain Lehuka Shehi Tliya. But how do you know that the word Vihuka otam means that you hang them? It's very nice that Vihuka you think means hang, but what's the source of Vihuka means hang? It says Dechsiv, because it says by the sons of Shaul, Vihukanum Lashem begivat Shaul, Bechir Hashem. Givat Shaul, they hang them. So the Gemara says, how do you know that that's hanging? Their mother took the sackcloth, and the Gemara says the pasuk vatatehu la el hatzor mitchilas ketzira nitach mayim aleim min hashamayim. So basically, what happened was she took the sackcloth and she spread it. Unclear if she spread it over them or spread it next to them, and she watched over the hanging bodies for months upon months to make sure that they weren't harmed by nature, they weren't harmed by the animals as well. There's no discussion why they couldn't go ahead and why they didn't bury them right away. But we see over here that she was watching over the hanging bodies, which means that when it says V'hukanum Lashem in the pasuk, it means that their bodies were hanged, and therefore when it says V'huka otam Lashem neged Hashamesh, when it talks about going ahead and hookah them neged Hashamesh, a hookah is many things, but a hookah is a hanging them. Says the Gemara, Uchsiv, Vayomer Hashem Moshe Kach Kol Rashayam. So now the Gemara asks a question though. The Gemara says that if you read that whole pasuk, now that you've established that they hanged the Bnei Shaul, but now the pasuk that you're bringing me as a proof that you hang them during the day, which means you finish it in during the day, it's an interesting pasuk because the Gemara says, read the rest of the pasuk. The pasuk says, Vayomer Hashem Moshe Kach Kol Rashayam, take the leaders of the generation, V'hoka otam Lashem neged Hashamesh, and hang them in front of the Shamesh. Now, if you don't understand V'hoka, V'yashom charonav Hashem Yisrael, and Hashem will not be angry. Now, if you don't understand V'hoka as being hanged, so then you can understand it as take the Rashayam and you should praise them in front of Hashem. But what does it mean? If you're explaining that V'hoka means you should hang them, so then what's the Rashayam doing? Like, what did the Rashayam do wrong that you're hanging them? They didn't serve Baal Peor, the people served Baal Peor. Says the Gemara, Ima amchatu Rashayam machatu, what did they do? Amar Rav Yud, you're reading it wrong. Amala Kadosh Baruch Hu Moshe Chalak Lahem Beit-din. Ooh, interesting. So it's saying that Vayomer Hashem Moshe Kaches Kol Rashayam. Period. Go take the Rashayam and split them up into beit-din, split them up into many different courts. Then have them judge. There's a lot of unwritten words in the pasuk. Have them judge all the people who serve Baal Peor, and as a result of their judgment, V'hoka otam Lashem neged Hashamesh. You'll go ahead and you'll hang the people who serve Baal Peor neged Hashamesh, and then v'yashov charonaf Hashem. So there's some missing words. You're not hanging the Rashayam. The Rashayam are judging the people, and then you're hanging the people. Says Gemara, my taima, elim mishum shein danin shnayim biyom echad. So now the question becomes, why did you have to split up all the Rashayam to judge the people? That means, why didn't you just have one court and have one after another come and say, you serve Baal Peor, Misa. You serve Baal Peor, Misa. You serve Baal Peor, Misa. And have one go and have them basically walk one after another through the beit-din. So Gemara says, you might think you need to have all of the Rashayam, because it sounds like Moshe is taking all the Rashayam and making them all become judges for the day. What do you need to do that for? If you say, because Ein Danin Shnayim Biyom Echad, if you say that there's halacha that a beit-din can never try two cases in one day. Now the Gemara says a beit-din can't try two cases. What's the reason? Rashi explains, because if there's two Dinei Nefashos in one day, it's going to be too much. Not that they can't handle it, quote unquote, but it's very overwhelming to judge two capital cases in one day. Says Gemara, the problem with that is that lo shano ala b'shtei misas, but misa achas danim. That's only when you have two different types of cases. But if you're dealing with the same exact case, they could do more than one in a day. So don't tell me that Moshe Rabbeinu, on the command of Hashem, split up the Rashi Am to be different dinim so that they can judge all the people in different dinim, in different batei dinin. Lamaisa, even if you hold that one beit din can't go ahead and judge more than one case in a day, that's only different cases. This was all the same case of serving Baal Peor, and there's no reason logistically that you couldn't have one beit din to go ahead and judge all of the people. You didn't have to split up all of the Rashi Am. Ela Kadesha Yashuv Charonaf Misrael. So Gemara says, no, you're right. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu, really, logistically, they didn't have to split up all of the Rashi Am. They just need to take enough to try the capital cases, and Lamaisa, they need 71, whatever, to try the capital cases, and that's enough. You don't need all the Rashi Am. Why did he say to take all the Rashi Am? He said to take all the Rashi Am because the more Rashi Am that are involved, if all the Rashi Am are involved, then they all become Kanoim, Lifnei Hashem, like Pinchas. Then they're all defending HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Torah. They're defending HaKadosh Baruch Hu's law. And therefore, Lamaisa, the chances are that Hashem's Charon Af, his anger towards the Jewish people for serving Baal Peor, will be lessened, because if that way to Chil Hashem, the more judges that are involved, the more cases that are going on at once, will be more of a greater Kiddush Hashem, and the Kiddush Hashem will be able to offset the Chil Hashem. So you're right, Enach Hanami, they didn't need Mitzah Halacha more than one beit din, because you could have judged as many as you wanted. But the Pasuk, again, for our purposes, says that he's telling the Rashi Am with the unwritten words. He's telling the Rashi Am, go split up into many batei dinim, split up into many batei dinim, and judge the people who serve Baal Peor. There'll be a big Kiddush Hashem, and Hashem's Charon Af will go down. And what do? V'huka otam, after you judge those people, you should hang them neged Hashamesh. Which again, the reason we brought this is so that you should hang them, and it proves that we hang them only during the day, which means that you judge only during the day as well, because you only hang them after you go ahead and convict them. And if you're hanging them during the day, that means you're convicting them during the day as well. Zok the Gemara, Dine Mamanos Gomin Bo Bayom. Again, we said that Dine Mamanos, when you finish it during the day, then the next day, and only the next day, do you bring the verdict. Minani Mili, how do you know this? Amar B'chanina, there's a machlokas. How do you know you have to wait a day to bring the verdict? To Amar Kra. Again, when we say that you're danin and gomrin, really in essence what we're saying is that you're able to go ahead and you're able to bring the entire din. So let's just go back to the Mishnah for 1 second. Dine Mamanos, where is this? Gomrin bo bayom ben l'schos ben l'chova. Dine Nefashos gomrin bo bayom l'schos uviyom shachar l'chova. So again, danin means that you do the din, you do the back and forth. Gomrin means that you actually bring the verdict. So over here, you can be gomrin, you need to be gomrin bo bayom. You need to be gomer on that day. So again, that means that Dine Mamanos you could do that day. Dine Nefashos you can only be gomer the next day. You do the dinim today, and you bring the verdict tomorrow. Where do you know you can only bring the verdict tomorrow? We fulfill and fill justice. Tzedek yalin ba. Gemara's understanding that tzedek, justice, should sleep over. And if not, then you're killing. So tzedek yalin ba. If you want tzedek yalin ba, you need to sleep on it. After you're done, you can only bring the verdict tomorrow. That's Rabbi Chanina. Rava Amar Mehacha. Ashro chometz. Ashrei mi shehu chometz. Ashro dayin shemechametz as dino. We are praiseworthy of a dayin, of a judge who is mechametz. Like he pushes off, he makes a chametz. He pushes off the actual din, the verdict, until tomorrow. Those are the two. Now, obviously, whenever we have two opinions, what do? We have to understand how each one understands the other one. The idach, so the one who says that ashro chometz is not to tell us that a judge has to wait till tomorrow, because we already know that. So ashro chometz, velo chometz. It's ashre chometz, velo chometz. I'm sorry. What does that mean? So Rashi says that the case is that, look at Rashi on the right, 4 lines down. If I bring you to court and say that you borrowed money from me, and you're not paying me, I know you claim, yes, I borrowed money, but the reason I'm not paying you is because so you're claiming that the reason you're not paying me back is because at the end of the day you gave me a collateral, and I lost the collateral or I broke it. So the halach is that even though you might think that we judge everything together, the halach is niskakin tchila bezin l'tvias hatoveya actually yehem mamono biyado v'yachach niskakin l'din hamashkon. It's 2 separate dinim here. So the first thing we do is that we bring you to court and we make you pay back the loan, which you're admitting to. And again, assuming I can bring proof, we make you pay back the loan. You pay me back the $1,000. Then we start a new court case, and you say, I want my value of my mashkon because he broke my mashkon. So when it says ashro chamutz, means that we're ashro chamutz. First, we deal with the nigzal, i.e. the lender, who claims that he was stolen from, but he never got paid back. And then you deal with the other guy, the chometz. Then you deal with the gozel. We're dealing with you, the borrower, who claims now that I went ahead and broke your mashkon. That's what they learn from that pasuk. That's why they don't learn that it's teaching us Ashrei Dayin Shemachamitzes Dino. V'idach, the one who learns Ashrei Dayin Shemachamitzes Dino, what does he do with Haimi Lesi Mishra? What does it mean when it says Sadek Yalin Ba? That sounds like you should not, or you have to let the judgment go ahead overnight. Sadek over here doesn't mean judgment, it means tzedakah. And you should let tzedakah, you cannot let tzedakah go overnight unless you are, if you do, you're considered to be a murderer. What does that mean? Any tanis that you let the tzedakah go ahead, you're shofech damim. What does that mean? So Rashi explains that what they used to do is to the right, kol tanis, regilin hayu belele tanis laso tzedakah. They used to give tzedakah on the night of the tanis, not the night before the tanis, the night after the tanis. That means after tanis was over, they would give tzedakah to people that had nothing to eat after the fast. And the aniyim would be waiting for that food. If you didn't give them the food right after the fast, then they would die, or they'd be very sick, or they would be very in pain because they have no food. They're trusting you for your food. So tzedek yalin ba, and you're considered to be a person who's me'atam beratzchim, because there's a good chance you're killing somebody if they're literally waiting. The Gemara just clarifies, v'hani mili berifta v'tamri. That's only if they're waiting, if usually you give them bread and dates, which are prepared foods. Ava bezuze chite v'sari las lamba. If they usually wait for zuzim, for money, or for raw wheat, or for raw barley, that's not going to be a problem if you don't give it to them that night, because they're not eating it that night anyway. They didn't have a way to prepare it that night anyway. But lamaisa enachanami, what the pasuk is telling us, it's sadeg yalin ba. It's telling us that by a tanis, if you don't give them the tzedakah right away, which they're waiting for, that's what it means, that you're going to be considered as if you're killing them. And lamaisa, you might physically kill them, but the pasuk does not teach us anything about overnight having to wait to give the judgment. So each one has a thing that they learn from the pasuk, which supports this din that you have to wait overnight in order to render the verdict, and each one has what they learned from the other guy's pasuk, and that is...
Why would you give it after the tanis?
What do you mean?
When a German tanis
stop. It gives you more chance, as long as they have it by the time that they need to break the tanis.
It's too late after.
No, right after the tanis. They're there. You invite them for the break fast.
Sorry, when do you do when does a capital punishment become? They put the accused to death the same day as.
So that's what we're bringing a proof for. We're bringing a proof that this proof is not. We're not up to that yet, but we're bringing a proof that Lamaisa we brought over here that you only hang them during the day, and we know already that you have to hang them the same day that you convict them. So again, the same way. But basically, what we do is we have the judgment. It could take a week. It could take 2 weeks. It could take a month. When you get to that last day that the jury thinks that they have a verdict, now the halacha is you have to wait a day before you actually issue the verdict. You wait overnight, you sleep on it when you think you have a verdict. You only give the verdict the next day in case you think you made a mistake, and then the day that you give the verdict, the same day you have to kill them. Again, that's going to come up now, which is why you can't necessarily judge on Friday. You can't give the verdict on Friday because then, well, Friday you could give the verdict, but you can't judge on Friday because that means you'll have to give the verdict on Shabbos, as we'll see, and you can't kill on Shabbos. Zak the Gemara, lefichach ein danin. Now the Gemara tells you, therefore you can't go back and judge on Friday. My time, huh? Mishum de lo efshar. You can't. Why? What should you do? If you judge on Friday, you have a problem. L'daine b'mali shapta. If you judge on Friday, v'ligmere l'daine b'mali shapta, and you go ahead and you give the judgment on Friday, dilma chazutam lechovu vo lemebad halanas din. What's going to happen? So you can't judge on Friday. You can argue with me, well, let's judge on Friday, and hopefully we'll find him to be innocent. That works, because we said that if you judge a capital case and you come out that he's innocent, if anything, we don't wait overnight, and we encourage you to actually give the verdict right away because we don't want you to change your mind. So that is possible to judge on Friday if you assume the guy's going to be if the verdict's going to be zaka, he's going to be innocent. Problem with judging on Friday is that what are you going to do? You're going to judge on Friday, and then there's a possibility at least that you're going to come to say we think he's guilty. Now you're not going to be able to issue the verdict on Friday because you have to sleep on it, and you're going to end up having to issue the verdict on Shabbos. What's the problem with issuing the verdict of Shabbos? Because now what did we say? Now you need to go ahead, and the day that you issue the verdict, you need to go ahead and you need to kill him. L'daine b'mali shapta v'ligmere b'shapta u'lekatle b'shapta ein ritzicha doches haShabbos. Killing, obviously killing in general is not docha anything, but killing for beit-din, for misos beit-din, that's not docha Shabbos. V'liktele la'orsa. Why don't we go ahead and kill him on Motzei Shabbos? Neged hashamesh ba'inan. Really, there's two reasons. A, because you need neged hashamesh, and B, because it needs to be the same day. So it needs to be neged hashamesh, it needs to be the same day. And therefore, lemaisa, you can't do it on Shabbos. V'ligmere l'daine b'shapta. Why don't we go ahead and end up judging on Friday, give the verdict on Shabbos. V'likat lebechad b'shabta. Everybody's off from work anyway Sunday, and kill him on Sunday. Nimsa taman as Dino said that's not possible either, because you need to kill him on the same day that you bring the verdict, because we don't want him to suffer knowing that he's about to die. So now the Gemara says, Nidaine b'male shabta v'ningre b'chad b'shabta. Perfect. So judge on Friday. You come to the verdict that he's chayav, you can't give it on Friday, so give it on Shabbos, or even if you can't give it on Shabbos because you're going to have to kill that day, so now give it on Sunday. You give it on Sunday and you kill on Sunday. Says Gemara, minshu tamay, you're going to mess everything up. You're not going to remember on Sunday, because again, what was the purpose of sleeping on it? The purpose on sleeping on it was to be able to figure out if maybe he could be Zakai. But by the time Sunday comes along, I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning, by the time Sunday comes along, what am I going to remember what happened on Friday in beit-din? Avagav, the Gemara says, and even if you're going to argue dishnei sofer even if you argue that lemaisa we have people in court that are writing down every single thing that happens in court, so what should you do? You should judge on Friday. Now sleep on it, Motzei Shabbos and Friday night and all day Shabbos whenever you sleep. And now lemaisa Sunday when you're ready, what are you going to do? Sunday you're going to come and you're going to review all the court documents, and now you'll bring yourself back up to date. Nihidid bepumak savin, even though enachanami they write down everything that's said in court. Liba de inshi hilkach lo efshar. They can't write down emotions. They can't write down that your heart was feeling that it should be a certain way or not. So if it's just based on facts, we know that the din is based on more than facts. We based on what it looks like, what you're feeling. The guy seems like he's lying. He doesn't seem like he's lying. That's not going to be written down in the thing. It's just going to be written down in the details. You're not going to remember the feeling that you had on Friday, the feeling that you would have had on Shabbos the day after. And therefore, Lamaisa, judging on Friday and pushing it off till Sunday is not an option either. Therefore, at the end of the day, you can't judge on Friday because you have no time that you'll end up being able to give the verdict. So you could judge seemingly on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then if you have to kill the guy, you'll kill him on Friday. If you judge on Thursday, then you can bring the Gemara din on Friday and kill him on Friday. But you can't actually have the court case, the deliberations on Friday, because you might come to a judgment, and even then you have to do it on Shabbos, etc. Good? Zak the Gemara. Amar le Reish Lakish Rabbi Yochanan. Shlokish Rabbi Yochanan. This is all assuming you can't judge on Friday, because what's going to happen? You're going to maybe bring the verdict on Shabbos, and he's going to be guilty and have to kill him on Shabbos. Says the Gemara, we're going to get to in a second. Now we have two problems with killing somebody on Shabbos. What are the two problems with killing somebody on Shabbos? First problem is that you're killing somebody. That's a malacha. And the second problem is that you can't bury them on Shabbos. So interesting, the Gemara is going to deal with the second problem first. The problem with burying him on Shabbos is not a problem. Why? Because this guy, if nobody can bury him, so he's a meis mitzvah. And this is not just for ritzicha. This is not just for something that beit-din kills. The Gemara basically is asking now, why in general do we not bury on Shabbos? We don't bury on Shabbos, but it's a meis mitzvah. Why isn't it not docha Shabbos? Why is it a malacha? It's a malacha, but a malacha should be docha Shabbos. Why should it be docha Shabbos meis mitzvah? Because we have a kavachomer. We know something else is docha Shabbos, and therefore this should be docha Shabbos as well. What's docha Shabbos? When you bring a korban in the Beis Hamikdash, the korban tamid and the korban musaf, which we say every single Shabbos, the korban tamid shachris and the korban musaf, they used to bring on Shabbos. So the avoda was docha Shabbos. So then ritzicha and kvuras meis should be docha Shabbos as well. So let's deal with each one individually. Let's deal with kvuras meis first. Uma avoda shedocha Shabbos kvuras meis mitzvah docha osa mi vilach oso. We have a proof from another place which we're about to bring that kvuras meis mitzvah should be docha Shabbos as well. Why? Kiditanya, because the Gemara says la vivulimo leachi vilach oso. It says that by a nazir who's a kohen. And Rashi adds it's a Kohen Gadol because of the Chiddush, as we'll see in a second. A Nazir, who's a Kohen, Lemaisa, is allowed to be or not allowed to be Mitame for a relative. A Kohen is allowed to be Mitame for a relative. A Nazir Kohen is not allowed to be Mitame for a relative. Once he becomes a Nazir, he can no longer be Mitame for a relative when they die. Matam Elomer, what are you telling me? Laviv limo lachiv lecha. So the Gemara there learns from all of these things. The Gemara learns, Hare shahaya holech lishchot es pischo. If he's going to shech the Korban Pesach, Velimo lespeno, or to give his son a milah, v'shama shemeis lameis, and this nazir hears that somebody died, yachol yitame, you might think that he becomes tameh, amarta lo yitame. So he doesn't become tameh to go ahead and bury and take care of his relative, even if he's on the way to shech the Pesach. What do you see over there? That the avoda is what? The avoda is not docha meis mitzvah. Says the Gemara, let's see. No, that's not a meis mitzvah. Yachol kishem sheino metame lachoso kacheno metame lemeis mitzvah. Talmud lomar. The Gemara there says the word v'lachoso is extra. V'lachoso lachoso hu de'eno metame ava metame lemeis mitzvah. There's a long Rashi on the bottom right over there, which you can see on Lamed Hey Amud Aleph, which talks about a Kohen and a Kohen Gadol, etc. But the way that the Gemara here learns is that at the end of the day, why don't we see the Rashi quickly? Gabi nazir ksiv al nefesh meis lo yavo. Ksiv basrei lavivu li'imo la'achiv la'achoso. V'kulu yisera ninhu. I mean, he says for a nazir, you never go to a nef. This is the last Rashi in Lamed Hey Amud Aleph. A nazir is never metame, and then it says you don't be metame for the following people. And that's extra, because it says kol nefesh. Mishtama v'dashin lebesifri avim matam lomar halabal lahotzi meis mitzvah shemut litame lo liimo matam lomar ligufei lo itzrech later meis mitzvah hamiav nafka, etc. So again, you go through the whole thing over here, but it makes a drasha for each of them. Lavivu liimo ulachiv and velachoso is extra. So the Gemara over there says that velachoso is extra. So what do? So we teach that again, if a nazir kohen, in general, a kohen can be metame for his family, but if he's a nazir, he cannot be metame for his family. If he's going v'shama shemeis lo meis, yachol yitame for his family. The Gemara says lo yitama. Pasuk says you don't be metame for your family. Now you might think that you're not metame for anybody if you're a nazir and you're a kohen. Says the Gemara, no. The v'lachoso, the extra v'lachoso, teaches me that only for your sister and these other family members are you not metame, but for other people, i.e., for a meis mitzvah, you are metame. So what comes out is that a nazir kohen who's dealing now, it's possible that your family member will be a meis mitzvah if there's nobody else to bury them. But assuming that your family member is taken care of by somebody else who's not, again, a kohen in general can be misasi, can deal with a family member who dies. A kohen who's a nazir cannot deal with a family member who dies, assuming other people are taking care of them because they have the extra added stringency of being a nazir. A kohen who's a nazir, if there's nobody else to bury that person, even if it's not a family member, from v'lachoso, they're allowed to do it. But what do you see here? Where are they on the way, according to this brisa? What are they on the way to do? They're not just a kohen who's maybe even a kohen gadol. And again, I believe the reason that it adds a kohen gadol is because this might be his only time to be able to go ahead and bring the korban pesach, and he might even be chayiv. Why does it bring these two examples of lishchot as pischa v'limos? No, these are two examples of things that you'd be chayiv kares for not doing. These are the two examples of mitzvahs that say that you're chayiv kares for not doing. So it's showing you so stringency the ability or the necessity to bury a meis mitzvah. So what's he doing here? He's on the way to bring a korban, to do the avoda. And nevertheless, what do we see? What's docha the avoda? A meis mitzvah. So we know that a meis mitzvah is docha the avoda. So again, what are we trying to bring a kal vachomer? You said that we can't kill a guy on Shabbos because we can't bury him on Shabbos. There's two problems, killing him and burying him. Now we're dealing with the burial. Why can't you bury a guy on Shabbos? You should be able to bury him from a kal vachomer. Because what do we know? Avoda pushes off Shabbos. We bring korbanos on Shabbos, certain korbanos. And we see that meis mitzvah pushes off avoda. If meis mitzvah pushes off avoda and avoda pushes off Shabbos, then by definition, kal vachomer, meis mitzvah pushes off Shabbos as well. And therefore, the problem of burying somebody that was killed by beit-din on Shabbos, and in general burying anybody on Shabbos, mikal vachomer, one should be able to bury somebody on Shabbos. Says the Gemara, Shabbos shenidches mnei avoda eno din shetei kfura meis mitzvah doche osa. Amar lei, ritzicha tochiach. Ritzicha will prove this. Why? Shedocha es havoda ve'eno docha es haShabbos. We know that Ritzicha pushes off the avoda, and it's not docha Shabbos. What does that mean? So Rashi explains, Ritzicha tochiach dechsiv me'im mizbechi tikachenu lamush. Im haya kohen rotzech. Let's say a kohen goes and kills somebody. V'rotze lavod. And he wants to do the avoda. So now you have trying somebody for killing versus somebody wanting to do the avoda. What's the halacha? Mevino so lidon bebezdin. You go ahead and you bring him to Beis Din. Because the Pasuk says, Me'im mizbechi. You take him away from the Mizbeach, not Me'al mizbechi. If he's mamish in the middle of the avodah, you have to wait till he finishes in order to try him in court. But if it's you have in front of us right now, either he goes to avodah, or we go ahead and we bring him to court to try him and to kill him for killing somebody else, what do? The Ritzicha comes first. So Ritzicha, you kill the guy who killed somebody else. Ritzicha is to kill. You bring a guy, so you have a Kohen now who killed somebody, he's chayav misa. So the question is, do we let him do the avodah? He's a smart guy. He says, wait, I want to do the avodah. Avodah is docha ritzicha, such a chashav yid. So avodah is docha ritzicha. So we see clearly that ritzicha is not docha the avodah. So it's interesting. So you want to bring what? You want to say that if kfuras meis is docha avodah, and avodah is docha Shabbos, then kfuras meis is docha Shabbos. But we see a case where something is, we see a case where what? We see a case where something is doche the avoda, where ritzicha pushes off the avoda, and yet it's not doche Shabbos. So just because something pushes off the avoda, you want to say Meis Mitzvah pushes off the avoda and therefore pushes off Shabbos. But we have an example of something which pushes off the avoda, i.e. we take the guy and we kill him and we don't let him do the avoda, and yet we know from elsewhere, as we're about to see, that ritzicha does not push off Shabbos. So therefore, the fact that something pushes off the avoda does not, by definition, mean that it pushes off Shabbos, and therefore you do not have a kal vachomer that Meis Mitzvah pushes off Shabbos. Ritzicha tochech shedochas avoda ve'ena dochas Shabbos. Says the Gemara, well, wait a second. Ritzicha gufa tidches haShabbos mikal vachomer. But why doesn't Ritzicha push off Shabbos? It should be a kal vachomer. Ma avoda shedoches haShabbos. We know that avoda pushes off Shabbos, and we just said that Ritzicha is doche osa. Ritzicha is doche the avoda. You take him before he goes ahead and does the avoda, you kill him. Shabbos and nidches b'nei avoda. If avoda pushes off Shabbos, eino din shedei ritzicha doche meotza. You're telling me that you can't make a kal vachomer from Meis Mitzvah doche avoda, which is doche Shabbos, and therefore Meis Mitzvah is doche Shabbos, because ritzicha tochiach ritzicha is doche avoda and it's not doche Shabbos. Why not? Why don't we make a kal vachomer that what avoda is doche Shabbos, and therefore what ritzicha, which is doche avoda, by definition, should be doche Shabbos. Again, if you write it out, it's a little clearer. But Amarava kvar paska tana debei Rabbi Shmuel. You're right. You have all of these possible kal vachomers, but we also have mefurish psukim, and therefore we have mefurish psukim that are going to give us the givens. Once you have the givens, then you can deal with all the kal vachomers. So again, we're dealing with a few different things. We're dealing with whether we can kill somebody on Shabbos, whether we could bury somebody on Shabbos, and whether the avoda is doche Shabbos. It's a given right now. The only given is that avoda is doche Shabbos. The other things we're trying to bring with kal vachomers, and we haven't proven yet. Says the Gemara, the avoda is doche Shabbos, and we've also proven from a pasuk me'im mizbechiti chachenu lamus that the ritzicha, killing somebody, is doche the avoda. Those are the two things that we have right now: avoda doche Shabbos and ritzicha doche avoda. Zag the Gemara, marava kvar pasuk tana debei Rabbi Shmuel, the tana debei Rabbi Shmuel, lo tivaru eish matam alom. There's a pasuk in Vayakel, my bar mitzvah parsha. Case you want to give me a gift. Vayakel my bar mitzvah parsha, and pikude and hachodesh. I know, still recovering. Lo tvar reish matam alomer. What does it mean? Lo tvar reish b'chol mosheichem. You shouldn't bring a fire on Shabbos. So matam alomer. What do we learn from that? The Gemara says matam alomer. What are you talking about? Don't you know Gemara? There's a whole Gemara there which discusses the fact that we know that all 39 malachos are brought in the Torah. Then there's Parshas Vayakel, which comes along and says, oh, by the way, there's an Isser of Tavaru Eish B'chol Mosheichem B'yom HaShabbos. Well, we already have been told that lighting a fire is Asur on Shabbos. Why does it go ahead and it takes and tells us again, Lo Tvar Eish B'chol Mosheichem? Why does it single out lighting a fire? Now, we don't know exactly why kindling a fire versus anything else. So the Gemara's question is, why does it single out one of the 39 malachos after having told me all of the 39 malachos? So there's a machlokes. Rabbi Yossi says, Lelav Yatzes. Rabbi Yossi over there learns that it's teaching us that this specific mitzvah, for whatever reason, or this losas, say, of lighting a fire on Shabbos, is singled out to teach us that while all of the other mitzvahs, if you do them on Shabbos, all the other lavim, you do either kares if you're not warned or skila if you're warned. This specific lav of lighting a fire on Shabbos is only lelav. You only get a lav, you don't get kares or skila. Again, for whatever reason. That's what he learns. That's why it singles it out. Rabbi Nassan learns lechalek yatzes. There's a din that we have that we say every day. Kol davar shaya bichlal v'yatza min haklal. You take it out of the klal. Lo lelamed al atzmo yatza, the way that you're learning, Rabbi Yossi, when you take something out of a group, so the first guy is learning, that means we're teaching about that specific thing. We learn that in general, when you take something out of a group and you teach about that thing, you're not just teaching about that thing, you're teaching about the entire group. What are we teaching about that? So the Gemara there says that we would have thought, had you listed all 39 malachos together, you would have thought that if you have one helim, if you think for one, you think that today's not Shabbos, and you do all 39 malachos. It's one thing if you do the same malacha numerous times. But if you do all 39 malachos, you might think you only get punished once. Since you did all 39 malachos, you have to bring 39 different korbanos, you get punished 39 times. How do you know that, if it listed all of them together? By pulling one of it out. Lechalek yatzis, by pulling out lo tavaru reish, teaches us that Lamaisa, you pull one out, and you teach that all of them you're going to get punished for separately, even if it's Bahali Mechad, even if you didn't know. So now we're saying, what do you teach me Lo Tvar Reish? Ma Tamalomar. We already know what we're teaching Lo Tvar Reish. Says the Gemara, Kedetanya, Havara Lalav Yatzes, Divrei Yosi, Rav Nosson Amar Lechalek Yatzes. Ella Amar Rav, you're right. From the beginning of the pasuk, Lo Tvar Reish, the pasuk says, Lo Tvar Reish b'chol mos v'seichem b'yom HaShabbos. From Lo Tvar Reish, I understand. There's a machlokes, whether you learn that it's to bring a special lav over here, as opposed to skila and kares, or it's to teach us that all of the 39 malachas, you get punished individually for all of them on Shabbos, fine. But the end of the pasuk, we can learn something from. B'chol mos v'seichem. When I tell you b'chol mos v'seichem, what does that imply? Wherever you live. What do you mean wherever you live? Bein be'eretz Yisrael, bein b'chutz aretz. If you're telling me that a din applies no matter where you live, there needs to be a reason to think that it doesn't apply where you live. That means if there's a reason to think that something doesn't apply, then I understand why you have to tell me everywhere. But in general, the default should be that all mitzvahs apply everywhere. What are type of mitzvahs that don't apply everywhere? Mitzvahs that are tluyos ba'aretz. Shemitah, things that are tluyos ba'aretz of Eretz Yisrael, those only apply in Eretz Yisrael. But things that are regular mitzvahs, nobody ever says that regular mitzvahs would apply in Eretz Yisrael and wouldn't apply in Chutz Aretz. So the Gemara says, Elam Aravatana Moshavos Kashile. Doesn't understand why it says, Lo Tvar Reish B'chol Moshvosechem. Moshavos Matam Ulomar. Michte Shabbos Chovas Hagufi. The Chovas Haguf Nohages Bein Ba'aretz Bein B'chutz Aretz. If you tell me that this was something which was a Chovas Aretz, then I understand. B'chol Moshvosechem, you would have thought that it's Dafka in Eretz Yisrael. B'chol Moshvosechem, I'm teaching you that it's also in Chutz Aretz. But this is a chovas haguf. It's a chova on each individual person, Shabbos. It's not a chova on the land. Therefore, what's the chiddush of b'chol mosh v'seichem? We know, just by lo tvar reish, we would know, without saying b'chol mosh v'seichem, we would know that it applies bein be'eretz Yisrael, bein l'chutz aretz, because it deals with a guf of a Jew, and the guf of a Jew is chayiv and mitzvos, no matter where they are. Says the Gemara, Moshavos, techaser rachman alamali, mishum Rabbi Yishmael amar tamid echad, levishanemar, because we have another psukim. Ki yeh be'ish chet mishpa mavet v'humat. If you have a man who's sentenced to death, Shomeani bein b'chol bein b'Shabbos. So we say that a man is sentenced to death and you have to kill him. So in the beginning, if you don't have any other pasuk, you would think that you kill him even on Shabbos. V'ha'mani mekayim mechalaleha mos yumas. What are you learning when you say that a person who's mechalal Shabbos dies? Bish'ar melachos chutz mitzas beizin o eno ela filu mitzas beizin. That means we're stuck. Because we have on one end we say that you should kill somebody, which implies you kill them, and it doesn't clarify when. You should kill them any time. If he's chayiv misa, you kill him maybe even on Shabbos. But then you have another pasuk that says mechalaleha mos yumas, that if you're mechalal Shabbos, you die, and that implies you die anytime, even if you're supposed to kill him. So which one is it? Says the Gemara, mani mekayim v'humas bechol avalo b'Shabbos o eno ala filu b'Shabbos talmud lomar lo tivaru eish bechol moshvosechem. So again, lo tvar reish, we know what we learned from. What does b'chol mosh v'seichem teach us? It doesn't teach us bein ba'aretz Yisrael, bein b'chutz aretz. So we already know that that's obvious. L'holan hu omer, there's a gezerah sakasuv. Gezerah shava over here, because it says v'hayu eila lachem l'chukad mishpat l'dorotechem b'chol mosh v'seichem. It's a fascinating gezerah shava we're saying here, that Hakadosh Baruch Hu is talking to the beit-din, and it's saying to beit-din, these should be the dinim to you b'chol mosh v'seichem. So now what does it mean? Ma moshavos ha'amar lahalan beit-din, af moshavos ha'amar kan beit-din, v'amar rachmana lo tvaresh b'chol mosh v'seichem. So what happens? The Torah says lo tvaresh b'chol mosh v'seichem. We know what lo tvar reish is coming to teach us. What's bechol mosh v'seichem? There's a gezerah shava from when HaKadosh Baruch Hu speaks to beit-din elsewhere. And when he speaks to beit-din elsewhere, he uses the word mosh v'seichem, which means that lo tvar reish, that part of the pasuk is talking to the Jewish people. But the added velo bechol mosh v'seichem is God saying, I'm talking to the Jewish people in general, either l'lav yatzes or l'chalik yatzes, but I'm speaking also specifically to beit-din. You might read the Torah and be confused. What do I do? On one hand it says v'humas, you kill somebody, which implies even on Shabbos. On the other hand it says mechalaleha mos yumas, if you're mechalal Shabbos, then you're going to be in trouble. Lo tivaru eish, I'm talking to the Jewish people, but I'm also bechol mosh v'seichem specifying to you, beit-din, that you should not be mevaru eish, i.e. you shouldn't kindle fires, i.e. you shouldn't kill people on Shabbos. So if you ask me now, how do I know? So now I have a pasuk from elsewhere that says avoda is doche Shabbos. I have a pasuk which tells me that retzicha is doche avoda, me'im is bechi tikachenu mamus, and now I have a pasuk that tells me that retzicha is not doche Shabbos. Because at the end of the day, it says, Lo tivaru eish b'chol mosh v'seichem, speaking to beit-din, that retzicha is not doche Shabbos. So what are we left with now? So now we're left with meis mitzvah. Well, now it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, you can't kill somebody on Shabbos. We're asking, why can't we kill the guy? Now we answered our whole problem. You can't kill somebody on Shabbos because we have a pasuk that says, Lo tvaresh b'chol moshe v'seichem, therefore you can't do the din on Friday. Now, in general, a mace mitzvah, one might still argue that a mace mitzvah can be buried on Shabbos. Says the Gemara, Abba Amar Abaye, Hashta de Amars, Ein ritzicha doches ha-Shabbos, Ein ritzicha doches avoda mikal v'chomer. Again, I told you that ritzicha is docha the avoda. But we haven't yet seen the pasuk that tells me that Ritzicha is Avoda. Well, we thought we did. We said Be'imiz bechenu tiluchenu lamus. That was Rashi, not the Gemara. Ma Shabbos sheniches me Avoda. So at this point in the Gemara is trying to say if Shabbos is pushed off by the Avoda, ein Ritzicha docheosa. We know that Shabbos is pushed off by the Avoda, but Ritzicha doesn't push off Shabbos. So what do you have here? What's the hierarchy? Shabbos pushes off Ritzicha, and what should Ritzicha do? Now, Ritzicha shouldn't be dochet. Avoda she doches ha-Shabbos. If Avoda pushes off Shabbos, eino din shalote Ritzicha dochosa. If you want to make a kal vachomer, if Avoda pushes off Shabbos, then shouldn't for sure Ritzicha not push off the Avoda? Because Ritzicha doesn't push off Shabbos. Avoda pushes off Shabbos, so Avoda is stronger than Ritzicha. So why should Ritzicha push off Avoda? Ela ha-dichsiv me'im izbechi tikachenu lamus. So again, we have a third pasuk. This is a pasuk that I brought in Rashi, but we have the third pasuk now. And the Gemara says, which we'll pick up here tomorrow, Hula korban yachid delo dachi Shabbos. We'll discuss this tomorrow because of Rava. But again, at this point in the Gemara, we have 3 psukim, and the fourth thing we were trying to go back and forth. We end up with 3 psukim. How do we know that? We know that avoda is docha Shabbos from elsewhere, from a pasuk. We know that avoda is docha Shabbos. We have to bring the korbanos every single day. We have a korban musaf. So avoda is docha Shabbos. It says to bring a korban musaf in the Torah on Shabbos. So you have avoda is docha Shabbos from the pasuk. You have the fact that ritzicha is docha avoda from the pasuk of me'im mizbechi tikachenu lamus. And we know that Shabbos is docha ritzicha from lo tvaresh b'chol moshe v'seichem. So the only thing we haven't seen a pasuk for yet is whether a mace mitzvah is docha Shabbos or not. That's the only thing that we haven't seen a pasuk for yet. We tried to bring a kal vachomer. We rejected the kal vachomer, but again, we've seen now psukim for the other 3. And we'll pick up here with Rav, and we'll explain this last sign of Ahula, Korban Yachid, Diladachi Shabbos, tomorrow morning, bright and early.